Once upon a time in a lively town called Okari, there lived a man named Mr. Obi. He was tall, hard-working, and kind. Everyone in the town respected him because he always greeted people with a smile and helped those in need. He was married to a beautiful woman named Adiz, and together they had 3 children, Chica, the oldest at 12 years old, Ifunanya, the gentle girl of 9, and little Samto, the baby boy who was only 5. Their home was not the biggest in the town, but it was filled with laughter, music, and love. Every morning, Adiz would sing while cooking. Chica would sweep the compound, Ifunanya would help wash the dishes, and Samto would run around chasing chickens, making everyone laugh. Neighbors passing by often stopped to smile, because joy seemed to live in that compound. At night, Mr. Obi would tell the children stories under the mango tree. He spoke of clever tortoises, brave hunters, and kind spirits. The children would clap and shout, "More, Papa! Tell us another one." Adiz would smile and shake her head, saying, "Sleep, my children. Tomorrow you must wake early for school." The children loved school and they loved their parents even more. Life was sweet and everything seemed perfect. But life, as sweet as honey, sometimes hides bitter surprises. One rainy evening, Adiz fell very sick. First, they thought it was just malaria. Mr. Obi bought medicine from the chemist, and the children prayed for her by her bedside. But Adiz's sickness grew worse. She could no longer sing while cooking, and her voice became weak like a whisper of wind. Children tried to be brave. Chica took over more chores, Ifunanya cooked simple meals, and Samto sat by his mother's bed holding her hand, whispering, "Mama, don't leave me." But one morning before the cock crowed, Adiz breathed her last. The house that was once full of joy became heavy with tears. Mr. Obi cried like a child. He held his children close, but they were all broken. Neighbors came to comfort them, but the emptiness could not be filled. The happy songs stopped, the night stories ended, and silence covered the compound. For months, they tried to live without Adiz. Mr. Obi still worked hard, but he could not cook, clean, and care for the children alone. Chica tried his best, but he was only 12. Ifunanya grew tired quickly, and little Samto cried for his mother every night. Slowly, Mr. Obi began to think of something he had once sworn never to do: remarry. One afternoon, Mr. Obi gathered his children. His eyes were red, but his voice was calm. "My children," he said, "I know you miss your mother. I miss her too. Life has been hard for us without her. I cannot take her place, but I must do something to help this family. I am thinking of marrying again so that there will be someone to care for you." The children looked at him with wide eyes. Samto shouted, "I don't want another mama." Ifunanya held her father's hand and said, "Papa, no woman can be like Mama Adiz." Even Chica, who was quiet, shook his head. "Papa, are you sure this is right?" But Mr. Obi sighed. "I know it will not be easy, but I believe it will help us." A few weeks later, he introduced them to a woman named Madame Ngozi. She was beautiful, with skin smooth like palm oil and eyes that shone like glass beads. She dressed well, always smelling of sweet perfume. When she first came, she smiled at the children and gave them meat pies and sweets. "Call me Mama," she said with a smile that looked warm but somehow made Ifunanya shiver. The neighbors praised her beauty and said Mr. Obi was lucky. Mr. Obi felt relief, believing that joy was finally returning to his home. The children tried to smile, but deep inside their hearts, something felt strange. First, Madame Ngozi was kind. She cooked delicious meals, told stories of her own, and even braided Ifunanya's hair. Children thought maybe things would be fine after all. Mr. Obi seemed happy again, and their compounds started to look lively. But slowly, the sweetness began to turn sour. One morning, Chica woke up to fetch water, only to find that Madame Ngozi had locked the big pot. "Water is not free," she told him sharply. "You must learn to manage." Another day, Ifunanya asked for more food because she was still hungry. Madame Ngozi frowned and said, "Do you think rice grows on trees? Eat what you are given." Samto, being young, often made mistakes. Once he spilled palm oil on her wrapper. She slapped his hand so hard he cried for hours. "Stupid boy," she shouted. "You will not spoil my things." Whenever Mr. Obi was around, she acted kind. She served him food with smiles, laughed at his jokes, and pretended to care for the children. But when he left for work, her face hardened like stone and her voice turned sharp like a whip. The children began to whisper to each other at night, hiding their tears under thin blankets. Mr. Obi was blinded by love. When the neighbors said, "Your new wife is hard-working and beautiful," he smiled with pride. When he saw his children quiet and withdrawn, he thought they were still mourning their late mother. "Give Madame Ngozi time," he told them. "She is new to this home. You must respect her." But the children knew something their father did not see. Their stepmother's smile was a mask, and behind it lived something dark and dangerous. One evening, Chica whispered to his sister, "If we tell Papa, he won't believe us. She is too clever." Finanya nodded sadly. "Then we must stay strong together." Little Samto, hugging his pillow, asked with teary eyes, "Will she ever love us like Mama Dee's?" But no one had an answer. The house that once glowed with laughter was now a place of fear and silence. The children felt trapped, and though the father's eyes were closed, the storm was only beginning. The first weeks with Madame Ngozi were like the sweetness of ripe mango, but soon the taste became bitter. Children started to notice things that made their hearts heavy. Behind her perfume, behind her soft clothes, behind her painted smile, there lived a woman whose heart was like thorns. One night, Chica woke up to fetch water because Samto was coughing badly. As he passed the kitchen, he saw Madame Ngozi sitting alone with a candle burning. She was staring at the flame, her lips moving as if she was talking to someone invisible. Her eyes looked strange, cold like water from a deep well. Chica stood frozen. Then she turned suddenly, and he ran back to bed before she could see him. The next morning, she acted as if nothing had happened. She smiled at Mr. Obi and cooked him yam porridge, even laughing loudly at his jokes. But Chica could not forget what he saw. He whispered to Ifunanya, "Something about her is not right. She talks to herself at night." Ifunanya shivered. "Don't say it too loud. If she hears, she will punish us." Samto, though young, could sense the darkness too. He often hid behind his sister whenever Madame Ngozi entered the room. During the day, Madame Ngozi made sure to treat Mr. Obi like a king. She would bring him water when he came home from work, massage his feet, and tell him, "My dear husband, I will make your home the best in this town." Yuri, once he left, her mask dropped. She forced the children to work like servants. Chica was sent to fetch firewood from far away, sometimes carrying heavy loads that bent his back. Finanya was made to wash clothes until her fingers cracked. Samto was ordered to sweep the compound again and again, even when it was already clean. If they complained, she would say, "You think life is easy? You children are lazy, just like your dead mother." Those words stabbed their hearts. When Mr. Obi asked how things were at home, Madame Ngozi would smile sweetly and say, "Oh, the children are learning to be useful. I treat them like my own." Mr. Obi, blinded by her lies, nodded in agreement. One afternoon, Samto was playing with a small wooden car he had carved. His laughter filled the yard. But the toy rolled under Madame Ngozi's chair, and when Samto bent to pick it up, he knocked her drink by mistake. Cup fell and spilled on her wrapper. Her face changed. She slapped Samto so hard that he fell. Tears rushed down his cheeks and he cried, "Mama, please forgive me." Chica rushed forward, shouting, "Don't touch him like that." Madame Ngozi's eyes blazed. "You dare shout at me? You foolish boy." She raised her hand to strike Chica, but Ifunanya stepped in, holding her arm. "Stop, please. He is only protecting his brother." That evening, when Mr. Obi returned, Madame Ngozi ran to him, crying fake tears. "Your children are disrespectful. They insult me, they don't listen, and they even tried to hit me today." Mr. Obi frowned at his children. Is this true? No, Papa, Chica said quickly. She slapped Samto for nothing. But Mr. Obi, tired from work, shook his head. Enough. You must obey your stepmother. She is trying to help you. Don't make her life hard. Children stared in shock. Their father had chosen to believe her lies. That night they cried silently, their pillows wet with tears. As weeks passed, the cruelty grew sharper. Madame Ngozi began to reduce their food. She gave them watery soup with little meat, while she cooked rich meals for herself and Mr. Obi. One night, after Mr. Obi had eaten and gone to bed, Ifeananya went to the kitchen to wash plates. She noticed Madame Ngozi's pot covered with a cloth. When she lifted it, she saw big pieces of chicken inside. Her mouth watered and her stomach growled. Thief! Madame Ngozi shouted from behind, slapping the pot closed. You want to steal my food? Shameless girl. Ifeananya shook her head quickly. No, Mama. I only wanted to wash the plates. You lie, Ngozi snapped. From today, you will eat only once a day. Let's see if hunger will teach you manners. The next morning, Ifeananya was given only a dry piece of yam for breakfast. Her stomach ached, but she swallowed her tears. Chica shared his own food with her, though it left him hungry too. Samto cried because he did not understand why Mama hated them so much. Ngozi enjoyed playing tricks to make the children look guilty. Once she poured water on the floor, then called loudly, Chica, why did you spill my water? Come and clean it, Chica protested. I didn't do it. But Mr. Obi, hearing the noise, came out and scolded him. Must you argue with your mother all the time? Obey her. Another time, Ngozi hid money in her wrapper and then accused Ifeananya of stealing. She screamed so loudly that neighbors gathered. The poor girl knelt down, shaking, saying, I didn't take it, Mama, I swear. Ngozi pretended to search, then pulled the money from under her wrapper. See? She wanted to make me look foolish, but God exposed her lies. The neighbors muttered, believing Ngozi's story. Ifeananya cried until her eyes were swollen. In all their suffering, the children clung to each other like vines on a tree. At night, they whispered under their torn blanket. Papa doesn't see the truth, Chica said bitterly. It's just us now. Ifeananya wiped her brother's tears. We must be strong. Mama Adiz is watching us from heaven. We cannot let this woman break us. Samto snuggled close to them. I miss Mama, he whispered. But I love you both. Their bond gave them courage. They began to help each other more, sharing food, protecting one another, and finding little moments of joy like telling stories in hushed voices or singing softly when Ngozi was not around. One evening, when Ngozi went to the market, Chica sneaked into her room. He wanted to find proof of her wickedness. First, he saw only perfumes, wrappers, and jewelry. But then, under her bed, he found a small wooden box tied with red cloth. His heart pounded as he opened it. Inside were strange things: a black feather, a tiny bottle filled with dark liquid, and a small doll with pins stuck in it. Chica's skin crawled. He remembered how people in the village whispered about women who used charms to control men. Quickly, he closed the box and pushed it back. But as he turned to leave, he heard footsteps. Ngozi entered. Her eyes narrowed. What are you doing here? She asked, her voice cold. Chica stammered. I came to look for Samto's ball. It rolled in here. Ngozi stared at him for a long time, then smiled slowly. Be careful, boy. Some doors are not meant to be opened. Her words sent shivers down his spine. After that night, Chica told Ifeananya what he had seen. Her face turned pale. That means she is using charms on Papa. That's why he can't see her wickedness. What if she uses it on us too? Samto whispered fearfully. We must stay close, Chica said firmly. We must protect each other. And maybe one day Papa will see the truth. But deep inside, even Chica doubted. The more Ngozi grew powerful in the house, the less their father seemed to notice. One Sunday evening, Mr. Obi came home earlier than usual. He walked into the yard quietly and stopped at the window. Inside, he heard Ngozi shouting at the children. "You useless children! You think you can outsmart me? I will make your lives so miserable you will wish you were never born." Mr. Obi's face turned pale. He pushed the door open, but by then Ngozi had changed her voice. "My dear children, you must obey me," she said sweetly, her face calm. "I only want the best for you." The children stood frozen, their faces wet with tears. Mr. Obi stared at them, then at his wife. For the first time, a seed of doubt grew in his heart. But would he discover the full truth before it was too late? Compound grew colder with each passing day. The once bright voices of the children had grown weak. Chika's laughter was gone, Ifunanya's songs had died, and Somto rarely smiled. Madame Ngozi walked about the compound like a queen, her footsteps hard and her words sharp. She no longer hid her cruelty well. Sometimes, when Mr. Obi was late from work, she would order the children to kneel on the gravel until their knees bled. Other times, she locked the kitchen, forcing them to sleep hungry. Yet, in front of their father, she kept her mask. She would serve him steaming soups and say, "Your children are stubborn, but I am training them with love." Mr. Obi listened, but the seed of doubt he had felt that night kept growing. One afternoon, Somto fell ill. His body was hot and he cried for water. Ifunanya begged Ngozi, "Mama, please let me fetch medicine from the chemist." Ngozi snapped, "Do I look like I have money to waste on that boy? Let him suffer. Maybe it will teach you all a lesson." Ifunanya burst into tears. Chika, unable to hold back his anger, shouted, "You are wicked! You don't care if he dies." Ngozi slapped him so hard he fell. She raised a broom and beat him across his back. "You dare raise your voice at me? I will teach you respect." That moment, Mr. Obi returned home. He froze at the sight of his son on the ground, his daughter crying, and Somto shivering with fever. "What is happening here?" he thundered. Ngozi quickly dropped the broom and rushed to him. "My husband, your children are rebellious. They insult me, they refuse to listen." But this time Mr. Obi cut her short. "Enough. I saw it with my own eyes." The mask cracked. For the first time, Ngozi's face lost its false smile. That night, after caring for Somto, Mr. Obi could not sleep. Chika gathered courage and went to his father's room. He told him about the secret box under Ngozi's bed. Mr. Obi's hands trembled. "Are you sure?" "Yes, Papa. I saw charms, things no good woman should keep." Together, they went quietly into Ngozi's room while she was asleep. Mr. Obi found the box and opened it. The strange objects glowed under the lamp's light, the doll with pins, the bottle, the feather. His heart sank. He remembered how quickly he had fallen for her, how blind he had been. Tears filled his eyes. He had allowed his children to suffer under a stranger's spell. The next morning, Mr. Obi confronted Ngozi. "What are these things?" he demanded, holding up the box. Ngozi's face twisted. "So you finally know." "Yes, I use charms. Without them, would you have married me? Would this house be mine?" Children gasped. "You are evil!" Mr. Obi shouted. "You brought sorrow to my children. You destroyed the joy in this home." Ngozi laughed bitterly. "You are a fool, Obi. Do you think you can throw me away so easily? Without me, who will cook your food? Who will warm your bed? Who will?" "Enough!" he roared. "You are leaving this house today." Ngozi's eyes burned with fury. She turned to the children. "This is not over. You will remember me." But her voice shook because the neighbors had gathered at the noise and shame covered her like dust. Now, my dear reader, stories sometimes carry more than one path. This one has two possible endings, one happy, one sad. Mr. Obi begged his children for forgiveness. He knelt before them, tears on his cheeks. My eyes were closed, but now I see. Forgive me for allowing this woman to hurt you. Chica lifted him up. We forgive you, Papa. We only wanted you to believe us. Together, they threw Ngozi's charms into the fire and prayed for peace. Compound slowly healed. With time, laughter returned. Finanya sang again, Samto ran around chasing chickens, and Chica told stories under the mango tree. Neighbors whispered, joy has returned to Obi's house. Mr. Obi never married again. He devoted his life to raising his children with love and patience. And though scars remained, the family learned that even after the darkest night, the sun can rise again. But life is not always sweet. After discovering Ngozi's wickedness, Mr. Obi sent her away. But the damage was already done. The children no longer trusted him. You didn't believe us, Chica said coldly. You let her hurt us. Finanya stopped singing, her heart full of mistrust. Samto grew quiet and fearful. Though Ngozi was gone, the joy of the home never fully returned. Mr. Obi tried his best, but guilt followed him everywhere. Each time he saw his children's sad eyes, he knew the wound in their hearts would take years to heal. The once happy compound remained silent, a reminder that some mistakes cannot be fully undone. Listen to children. Their voices may be small, but their words can hold the truth. Don't be blinded by beauty. True love is shown through kindness, not by sweet perfume or pretty smiles. Family is priceless. Protect the ones you love, because once trust is broken, it is hard to fix. Evil may hide, but it cannot last forever. Lies, charms, and wickedness will one day be exposed. Be patient before choosing. A quick choice made in loneliness can lead to great sorrow. Do you treat everyone in your home with the same kindness, even when no one is watching? Would you be brave enough to speak the truth, even if no one believes you at first? What matters more, how someone looks on the outside or how they treat people in secret? When trust is broken, how can it be rebuilt? Thank you so much for watching this story. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. More powerful and emotional stories are coming your way, so stay tuned and anticipate the next one.